Um, why am I doing this webinar? Well, when I talk to real estate owners and developers, this is probably the number one question I get. What or why should I tokenize real estate versus doing it the way I've always done it through traditional fundraising? And this webinar is for you. It's not that long. I like to get right to the meat and just jump right in. But first, I do want to introduce what is Smart Blocks. This is the platform where we do it all. It's a global real estate marketplace. We do use tokenization. We also go through traditional fundraising. If you want to raise it traditionally, we do that as well. But we like to tokenize the entire property because of the benefits we're going to talk about today. And once I think you guys see this, you're going to understand why tokenization is so much superior to traditional. And I think the issue comes when people associate tokenization with crypto. It's not, but we'll get into that. Okay, so all tokenization is converting your standard shares in a real estate project to tokenized shares. And all that means is you've just digitized it. And once it's digitized and on a blockchain, the world is your oyster, essentially. You can do pretty much anything with it, including instant access to a global investor pool. And on our platform, they can invest in 4 clicks, assuming they pass what's called AML and KYC. AML, anti-money laundering, KYC, know your customer. So assuming you know them, and we do all this for you, and they're not some money laundering, they can invest in about 4 clicks on our platform. Okay, our mission is really to democratize real estate investment. We want to give this opportunity to everybody in the world, including developers, real estate owners, anybody that owns real estate or like properties like hotels, because we will combine properties with businesses as long as it's tied to a trustee. That's our mission, folks. I don't know of anyone else who's doing this. We want to do it, and it's based on a history that I've had in my 20s. We won't get into it on this call, but just neat. I was a high income earner, but I couldn't get into real estate for a lot of reasons. With this platform, I would have been able to do that in my 20s. Okay, what are the challenges in real estate? Basically, it's 3 things. There's many more, but the main ones are high capital requirements. Real estate projects often require big upfront investments. This is my problem in my 20s. Especially on the commercial real estate side, it's a big challenge in getting these projects off the ground. Or if you have existing projects, having the means to get out of it or to liquidate part of it to raise money for improvements or additions to the property. There's always a loan acquisition challenge. I mean, I just look at what's happening in commercial real estate office and some of the 3 trillion that's coming due and the issues that commercial real estate owners are having and just refinancing that. That is a massive challenge. And of course, finding investors, nightmare. I know, I've done it. I know traditional fundraising is very difficult, but when you have a platform with a bunch of investors on it, and you have institutions and high net worth individuals and family offices around the world that are looking for these opportunities, a lot easier, and it's not a challenge for them to invest in U.S. real estate or vice versa. You can basically invest anywhere around the world just by setting it up properly on our platform. Okay, let's jump right into the benefits of tokenizing real estate versus traditional. Number 1, access to global investors, and we're going to go through these in detail in just a second. Number 2, significantly increased liquidity. What does that mean? Well, I'm going to tell you. 3, flexibility in capital raising. You can't do this with traditional. I'll explain why. Increased value, asset valuations. That's right. Your property goes up in value. Now, why? You're going to find out. Reduced administration costs, everything that's on a blockchain is going to get even better 5 years from now. And I'm going to show you what's going to happen in 2030. But everything becomes easier when it's digitized and automated. Okay, so let's jump right in. Let's not waste any time, folks. Access to global investors. By being on the Smart Blocks platform, if you have a listing on the Smart Blocks platform, this is instantly sent to high net worth individuals, family offices, And if it's big enough, over $50 million, sovereign funds. You also so we're promoting it on our platform in a very, very big way. Of course, you still have to do your own fundraising or you hire a marketing company to help you with that. That doesn't necessarily go away. Our vision in the next year or two is you won't even have to do that. We'll have so many investors on. That's what we're looking to do. Okay, we're very selective about who we let on the platform. So we're not just going to let anyone on. We have a very comprehensive two-step due diligence process. One is our own internal team, and then we have an external team double check of what's coming on. Okay. All right. Number two, significantly increased liquidity. When you tokenize your real estate, that means, and we borrow from the crypto world, even though we're not crypto, that means you can trade that token. So if an investor invests and they don't like what you're doing, they can sell those tokens and get out. You can't do that today. That is a big benefit that you're providing investors that are unsure about whether this is a good investment or not. Imagine giving them the ability to get out as soon as they want, right? I mean, if they're a US investor, you have to wait a year, but anyone outside the US can do it instantly. That's pretty attractive. Where else do you get that in real estate? Not without paying a big fee to a broker, and good luck finding the right person that's going to buy it. So when you have this kind of liquidity option, you attract investors from around the world that you normally wouldn't, because it's now less risky for them. You see how that works? It's just like the stock market. You can get in, get out, and it's as simple as that. All right, flexibility in capital raising. What the heck does this mean? Well, first of all, you can have unlimited token classes per project. You can have a pref, you can have debt, you can have a token class where, let's say you're running a hotel and you want to give away 5 free nights a year if they own a certain amount of tokens, you can do that. And that's what you get into creative perks. If you can imagine it, you can program it in and we can make it happen. And what does this do? This attracts the right type of investor, because a lot of investors are used to, hey, I'm going to get an 8% pref and that's it. Where you can now build into these tokens very special features to attract the right type of people and institutions that you want. You just have to find out what it is that they're interested in. Maybe it's, hey, I want to get out in 2 years, and there's an automated way of them selling those tokens right back to you in 2 years. I'm just making things up, but you can too. And that's the beauty of doing it this way. Okay, increased valuations. This is my favorite. Because you now have a liquid asset in the form of tokens that represent ownership in that particular project, and it's legal, right? These tokens are just digital representations of the shares that they own. It's a direct tie. Okay, you can't, it is a legally binding thing. Because of that, you can look at all the information, you can look at all the things that have been written about this, including my favorite, JP Morgan's analysis of what happens when markets that were illiquid become liquid, including real estate. There's a 10% increase in that asset's valuation. And it makes sense if you think about it, because if you can't get out of it until a developer or a real estate owner sells that particular project or building or home, then you're stuck in it until they decide to sell it. But if now you can trade in and out of it, people will pay a premium for that. Institutions will, family offices will, high net worth individuals will pay a premium for that. And that premium settles around 10% in value. So when you tokenize a project, essentially you're giving it a 10% uplift in value. And if we're talking millions, that's quite a lot of money. And this is all backed by research. You can ask me later. I can send you the research, but look for it online from JP Morgan. Okay, and reduce administrative costs. This for me isn't an obvious one, but it's an important one. And a lot of things that are done, that you guys all do, if you're dealing with investors, can be done on the blockchain. And I'm going to get into the future in just a second. But right now, you can communicate with your investors automatically, just like a chat. You can pay dividends automatically just by funding a wallet. And you can also set up certain parameters that happen automatically, like if somebody owns enough tokens, they get a free night in your hotel. Just for an example. Now, here's what's going to happen in the future. Title insurance, governments, anything having to do with the property, think of the Carfax for your property or your project will be on the blockchain. How do I know this is going to happen? Well, governments haven't quite figured it out yet, maybe Dubai, maybe some other places. But once it's on a blockchain, they have complete visibility to nearly everything that's going on with that project or that property. So they can tax it, they can look at ways of funding certain things in the surrounding area. And this can all be set up and required via smart contract. Now, I don't like the sound of that, but once these governments figure out that that's what they can do, I'm pretty sure they're going to do it, because anytime they feel like they can raise more money, they're going to do it. Okay, so that's how I know governments are going to get involved in this. Title insurance, way too expensive, at least here in the US. Around the globe, it's different. But in the US, you're way too expensive, especially when you've refinanced a year later and you're still paying the same amount of title insurance. All of that makes more sense on the blockchain. There are companies actively going about doing that. The problem with it, that is, you got to get every county, sometimes cities interested in participating. And that's where somebody hopefully listening to this is going to go sell them on this dream of increasing their revenue, which they can. Until that happens, we won't have a Carfax for these properties, because we're going to have, first of all, an incumbent, and the title insurance companies will be the incumbents. They're not going to want to give up their gravy train. There's no way. But I think through legislation, this is going to happen by the year 2030. So imagine every bit of information on the blockchain. And now imagine how you can automate nearly everything having to do with that property. How much money is that going to save you guys? A ton. I mean, you won't even have to do your books. It'll all be automated. And when you add an AI layer to it, certainly going to be automated by 2030. I have no doubt. So all of this is going to change in the future, and that's why reduced administration costs, even today, is an important feature of tokenization. Okay. Now, why smart blocks? Today, we fractionalize and tokenize any property that we accept on the platform. Then we distribute it out to a global investor base. And then that makes it very streamlined. Like I said, 4 clicks and they can invest in your property or project. And very soon, we're going to enable AI to manage the due diligence on all these properties from around the world, as well as give investors a way of analyzing properties on our platform to maximize what their goals are for investment. And I think that's huge, both for real estate owners and for investors, to have this AI layer help them decide what to invest in if you're an investor, and for on the due diligence side, making sure that real estate owners and developers understand, here are the holes in what you're doing, here's what you need to shore up, and this is what's going to make it more attractive to those same investors. Okay, testimonial. Now, this is on the agency side, which SmartBlock started as, and then it became a platform. We raised money manually for this gold mine, which was the land plus the gold that was in it. And this was something that we're very proud of, and developed this. It took about a year and a half because it was manual. We didn't have a platform, but this is one of the reasons why we developed the platform, to make this much more streamlined, much quicker. Now, if you have your ducks in a row and it's a lucrative project that we accept, we say it takes between 3 and 6 months to raise funds for your particular project. Again, I want to get this down to 3 days, and I will. Give me 2 years, and any project we accept will be funded in 2 years. We just need to get people used to tokenization, or these investors used to tokenization, and the right investors on the platform, and that's going to happen. Okay, our unique selling points. I kind of went through this. I don't need to do it again. But I do need to share with you our team experience. We've developed real estate in the US, India, and the UAE, which is part of the reason why we're starting. We're focused there, but we'll take real estate from anywhere. We've got people on the ground, or we have attorneys that can help us make sure that the investment is a sound investment. Um, in our experience, we've had a return of 30% cash on cash. We don't always look for those types of returns, but we are looking for solid returns, even core plus. But we want to make sure that our investors are going to be taken care of, and if it is a risky investment, that there is a type of reward at the end of it, and that we've done the due diligence on it. I've also had 4 years of experience in tokenization and 20 years in SaaS technology. Plenty of people on the team that have deep experience that I'll introduce you in just a second. Here's our team of people that are working on this and have started this from scratch with me after working with tokenization. Wide range of people from around the world. Very proud of this team. On the advisor side, these are basically the who's who in commercial real estate, tokenization, fundraising. All of them on a weekly basis are giving us great advice and helping us develop and analyze properties that should be on the platform and bringing in investors that will invest in them. So a great group of advisors here. All right, I promised you this would be short because I like short. I like just getting to the nuts and bolts of it. Again, tokenization superior to traditional fundraising for a lot of reasons. And I know, because a lot of you have told me, you have investors that would never invest in a tokenized property. The beautiful thing is, you don't have to. If it's on our platform, they can do it traditionally, but they missed out, or they will miss out on a lot of those benefits, especially liquidity on the platform. And I didn't even mention one that's coming in a couple of years. You can actually do it now, but in a couple of years where you'll be able to take those tokens as a real estate developer or an investor and then borrow against them without selling them. So imagine if you, the real estate owner or developer, can collateralize those tokens and in the global markets, borrow against them. You can actually do it today. It's just not streamlined like it's going to be in a couple of years. So let's say you have tokens that are unsold that you need in order to complete the project. Well, we can help you go to these DeFi markets. They're just decentralized markets that are global, and collateralize those tokens and allow you to borrow against them, usually between 8 and 10%. But at least you have that option if you haven't sold those tokens. And that can happen today. It's just a little kludgy, and you need really a consultant to help you with that. But we're more than happy to help. Okay, so if you want to list your property on SmartBlocks, or you just want more information, scan this QR code or go to our website at smartblocks.xyz. And if you have any other questions, contact us at sbsales@smartblocks.agency. And whatever it is, I'm happy to answer it. Look forward to hearing from you and look forward to seeing you on the platform. That's all for today, folks. Thank you.